Hello, my name is Jonathan Miller. I'm the Deputy Director for Policy and Research in the FDIC's Washington, D.C. office. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this presentation on the mortgage servicing rules issued by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB. These rules became effective on January 10, 2014. This presentation has been prepared by FDIC staff and is part of an FDIC video series on compliance with the CFPB mortgage rules that implement requirements in the Dodd-Frank Act. This video series is part of the FDIC's ongoing efforts to provide technical assistance resources to our supervised banks to help them fulfill their compliance obligations and better understand key regulatory issues. Today I'll be joined by three of my FDIC colleagues: Paul Robin, Section Chief in the Supervisory Policy Branch; Luis Brown, Section Chief in the Consumer Research and Examination Analytics Branch; and Elizabeth Khalil, Senior Policy Analyst. This particular video will focus on topics of interest to small servicers, as defined in the servicing rules. Small servicers are mainly community banks that, together with their affiliates, service only mortgage loans that they own or that they originated, and that service no more than 5,000 of these mortgage loans in total. We expect that most FDIC supervised banks will likely be eligible for the small servicer exemption. Servicers that qualify for the small servicer exemption are exempt from many, although not all, of the provisions of the mortgage servicing rules. So we'll walk you through the provisions that do apply to small servicers and help you understand supervisory expectations related to those provisions. Before getting started, we want to make you aware that on November 20th, 2014, the CFPB issued a notice of proposed rulemaking that would make targeted amendments to the mortgage servicing rules. A few of the proposed changes would modestly alter the rules applicable to small servicers from what we're presenting to you today. The CFPB is expected to finalize the rules sometime in the middle of 2015, with an effective date around the middle of 2016. In the meantime, the rules as we are presenting them today are the ones that servicers must follow until the proposed amendments are finalized and become effective. Banks are encouraged to read the proposed rule and send any comments to the CFPB. You will find a link to the proposed rule on the resource slides at the end of the presentation. Servicers that do not qualify for the small servicer exemption must comply with all applicable provisions of the mortgage servicing rules. For these servicers, which we will call large servicers in this presentation, we recommend referring to materials developed by the CFPB that specifically discuss all the mortgage servicing rules provisions, as well as certain other resources. We've provided information on these resources on the final slides in this presentation. Also, please keep in mind that today's presentation does not address all aspects of the mortgage servicing rules or even all issues that could affect small servicers. You should always consult the rules themselves, including the CFPB's official interpretations. You may also find it helpful to consult resources like the CFPB's Small Entity Compliance Guide for the Servicing Rules and other resources available on the CFPB's website. In the next segment of this presentation, segment 2, we'll start with a focus on understanding who is covered by the small servicer exemption, including how to accurately determine whether you qualify for the exemption. In segment 3, we'll discuss the specific provisions of the mortgage servicing rules that apply to small servicers, and we'll briefly touch on other mortgage servicing rules. In segment 4, we'll discuss some particular challenges and questions we've been hearing from our banks about the servicing rules and provide you with some clarifying information. In segment 5, we'll provide some best practices for complying with the mortgage servicing rules and some suggestions for effective compliance management tailored to the rules. I'll now turn it over to Paul Robin and Luis Brown to set forth who is covered by the small servicer exemption, including how to accurately determine whether your bank qualifies for small servicer status. Thank you very much for tuning in today. We hope you find the information in this presentation helpful.